Welcome to another episode of Knowledge is Power, where we're here to empower you for your journey as a woman over 40. Today, we got something special. We have two speakers instead of just one. And then we have over 300 people joining our webinar today. What is the topic about? Weight management and menopause. Yay! It is everything that we are on about. Okay. As a woman over 40, we understand how troubling these periods can be, how stressful it can be, and how life can change in any moment. So today, my two speakers is Lisa and Susan. Hi, Lisa and Susan. Thank you for joining our
Morning.
space today. So
Good
tell us a
morning.
little bit about you and who you are. Let's start with Sue first.
Okay, welcome everyone. So my background is in the NHS in the UK. I'm a nurse by background and have been in the NHS for almost 40 years. And throughout my career, I suppose I've been involved in health and wellbeing, supporting people to make those small changes, supporting people to change their behaviour, and work on areas that they've been struggling with. And I've also done additional training around supporting women going through menopause. So I'm a Meno health leader. I'm very recently qualified as a life coach, and my specialist area is, surprise, surprise, is going to be around supporting menopausal and midlife women. So really pleased to be here.
So Lisa, tell us a little bit more about you.
Yeah, good morning, ladies. My name's Lisa, and I'm a fully qualified personal trainer from about 22 years, 24 years. 24 sounds better, doesn't it? I recently specialised in, well, say recently, over the last 3 years, specialised in training with menopausal ladies over 40, and also looking at strength training in particular, which we will come on to later. Exercise is really, really important during midlife, and not only for weight loss, but just for general well-being. So I work one-to-one with ladies at home. I've got my own home gym, which I call the Happy Hut. And I do it daily. I absolutely love it. Exercise is my life, and I'd like to share that passion, let people fall in love with it like I did years ago. So yeah, we're going to be talking about exercise, nutrition, sleep, all that kind of stuff. All fits together into a jigsaw, but yeah, exercise is my passion.
That is amazing. You two got the best combination together, the brain and the body, which is what we all want and need. So yeah, which is great. Which is great. We all got it. So now everyone is having that, the brain and the body and the mind. How good is that? We're having it. So without further ado, I will leave the space for you two to actually have fun in. I'll be on the background and I'll be approving people who are coming in as well. Like we said, we have over 300 people who actually sign up. So you may hear ding ding sound every here and there, but that's completely okay. If anyone that doesn't want to show their face or turn their camera off or turn their sound off is completely fine as well. We'll respect your wishes. And if you got any question, feel free to drop it into your chat box there. We will answer you towards the end of our presentation. Thank you so much again, everyone. And the stage is yours.
Thank you, Martha. Thank you. So we are, this is going into Martha's group as well. And there are lots, thousands and thousands of women in there. So good morning, wherever you are, whether in the UK, whether you're in Australia. It's great to see you. So I'm just going to do the techie bit, which we kind of, me and Lisa, you know what we like. This is where we start to panic a little bit because let me just go back. Because we're not very good with the techie bit, are we? So there you go, hopefully. Right, I tell you what I'm going to do. Right, sorry, I need to share the sound as well with everyone. Yeah, that's on, that's fine. Because we have got a little video clip to share with you. So why are we doing this? Why are we doing a weight management webinar? We didn't just wake up one morning and think, well, that might be a nice thing to do. We are very conscious that lots of women that we support through our free Facebook group, our VIP membership, our subscribers hub, Lisa's clients, etc., really, really struggle with this. This is one of the more common symptoms during menopause. There is lots and lots of conflicting advice out there. I'm confused. Myself and Lisa get confused, and we probably, it's fair to say, we have a lot more knowledge than a lot of people. But every day I turn on social media, there are things popping up for this magic weight loss solution. If you're here for a magic weight loss solution, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but there isn't one. If it's too good to be true, then it probably isn't going to work. But we're going to talk a little bit about all of that as we go through. We've already introduced ourselves and we've given you kind of an indication of why you should listen to us. Again, you know, we've not just come in off the street and decided this might be a nice thing to talk about. We've got lots of experience. We've got a wealth of experience and knowledge between us. We've kind of brought those skills together. We did decide whether to talk to you about how we actually met. So we are just going to mention that because it's our little funny story. And I know a lot of you have heard this already, but we did meet online, and it wasn't through a dating site or anything like that. We just Lisa joined 3 years ago. Lisa was looking for a menopause group, and she joined mine. How lucky am I? And she joined my menopause group, and we just got to know each other through that group, and we realised that we had lots of skills, knowledge, lots of experience that we could bring together and support women all over the world, which is kind of what we do now. But as well as that, we've become great friends, as a lot of you, I know a lot of our VIP ladies are listening in today. We've become great friends, and obviously we've created our business together. So yeah, so a little bit of transparency, a little bit of honesty. We are going to be sharing something with you throughout the presentation, and we are going to be sharing with you what actually works. It's not faddy, it's not based on magic wand, etc. There is good evidence to suggest that the things we are sharing with you actually work, and we will be talking a little bit about how we can support you after today, because then our webinar is fantastic. We'll share lots of information, but if people need that ongoing support, then we'll be sharing with you how we can offer that as well. So we've kind of, let me just move on to the presentation. We've kind of introduced ourselves a little bit, but I just wanted to share something with you. So we've talked about our experience, you know, the areas of work that we're in. But one thing I want to share, if you see the quote on here, as difficult as this stage of life can be, I believe with the right support, women can feel empowered to manage it effectively. And for me, the key bit there is with the right support. We know that a lot of women, they know what they should be eating. They know what exercise they should be doing. They know how to do this, but it's difficult. It can be very difficult, and especially when you throw in menopause into the mix, which we're going to talk about why in a moment. So we're here to help you do the how. So how do I do this? How do I change my exercise? How do I know what to eat? How do I reduce my stress? We're here to help you with all of that. So I'm just going to hand over to Lisa to see if there's anything else that Lisa wants to add, you know, obviously following our introductions.
Yes, ladies, what I'd like to say, you'll see on the slide there that I am actually Meno Strength accredited as well, which I did about 2 years ago, and that's actually taught me even more about what we should be doing with our bodies at this stage of life, what exercise we should be doing, which Sarah's just said we will go into. We can't do what we used to do. We can't eat what we used to eat, unfortunately, but it's just taking care of ourselves now and not then, and looking how our bodies have actually changed. So again, my quote here, I love quotes. I'm an absolute quote queen. But one of my favourite here is that your health cannot be bought, you've got to earn it. But my big message that I follow through everything I do is that you've got to have fun while you're doing it. Okay, if you're not having fun exercising, then you're not going to do it, you're not going to like to do it. So the secret really is here to enjoy what you do. So we'll go on to the agenda. We'll run through what we're going to run through in the next hour or so, yeah, hopefully we can give you some really good advice and tips on how to enjoy our midlife, basically. Yeah, so first of all, we're going to look at some common struggles. I just whiz through this very quickly. Yeah, we do have loads of struggles, and there are, I think, Sue, I'm right in saying there's about 54 menopausal symptoms that one of us will, or all of us will face at some point. One of us will get a couple, some of us will get loads, and it's just that, you know, how do we deal with these things? What are those struggles? We're going to introduce you to our our SMILE technique. Is that the right word, Sue? Our acronym SMILE. So we're going to go through what that means. And I think that's a perfect word to demonstrate that is what we should be trying to do, or that's what we should be doing. Okay, because it's not all doom and gloom. So we've got to smile through our midlife, our menopausal years, as much as we can. We're going to give you some tips on weight management. As Sue said earlier, we have not got a magic wand. If we had one, I think we'd be sailing around the Greece, the Ionian Sea in a massive yacht at the moment if we had a magic wand. There's no such thing as magicking the weight away. We can't spot reduce fat. We have to look at diet. We have to look at exercise. We have to manage the other symptoms, which Sue will go through in detail. As Sue has mentioned again, how can we support you on an ongoing basis, which we'd love to do. And we've got a few VIP members on here today with us as well who absolutely love our membership. I'm sure they do. Love exercising in their own home, and they love all the information that's on there as well. And we're going to give you some feedback just to show you what some of our members have said. And finally, if you hang on right till the end, how you can contact us for some further support.
Thank you, Lisa. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the reasons why we gain weight, because a lot of women we support are frustrated. As Lisa said, they've been able to eat what they want, not particularly do much exercise throughout most of their life. They hit that perimenopause stage, that run up to menopause, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my goodness, what's happened to me? It's like overnight I've put weight on, it's around my tummy. I've got achy joints, I can't exercise, etc. So there are lots of reasons. It's not just one reason. And a lot of people tend to focus on the diet and what we eat. And that is, of course, important. But there are lots of other things going on during menopause as well. So you probably know that as we approach menopause, our estrogen levels particularly, we've got three main hormones, but our estrogen levels in particular start to decline, and we get an imbalance of hormones. So up to then, things have been going pretty tickety-boo and kind of pretty well balanced. But then along comes perimenopause and thinks, haha, hang on a minute, we're not continuing with this. We're going to throw this into the mix. And so, so what happens is, when we lose our estrogen, our bodies don't like that, so they compensate. Our bodies are pretty good at compensating, and they decide to try and produce their own type of estrogen. It's called estrone. But it actually stores this in the adrenal glands, and it stores it in the fat cells, which is why you suddenly seem to put weight on. You get that muffin. I'm holding mine now. I've got my muffin top in my hands as we speak. Thankfully, you can't see that. But yeah, it's this different type of estrogen that actually lays down the fat cells in places that we don't particularly want it to. Now, it's not all negative, because there is a slight positive consequence of that, and that tummy fat does protect us against heart disease and osteoporosis, but too much of it is not healthy. So, history of dieting and poor food choices. I read an amazing fact yesterday. I wish I'd written this down, actually. The amount of times that women throughout their life will have been on some kind of diet, and we call it yo-yo dieting, because things like, I've just written a few down here, and I'm not dissing. I am dissing some of these because they're a bit bizarre, but I'm not dissing some of them. Things like Weight Watchers, Atkins diet, Slimming World, the cabbage soup diet. We've all tried that one, haven't we? The egg diet. Well, you can imagine what the consequences are of being on that for too long. What happens is we get this yo-yoing effect. So we get our bodies going into starvation mode, and they grab onto any bit of food that they can get, and then we put the weight on, and then we try and lose it again. So they don't work in the long term. They might work in the short term, but they don't work in the long term. We're probably moving less. One of the common symptoms of menopause is achy joints, poor sleep. So we're tired, lots of things going on in our life. So we put ourselves way down on that priority list. So we're probably not exercising. Therefore, we're not burning. Lisa's going to go into a lot more detail on this. We're not burning the energy off. We're losing our muscle mass. Less muscle means less calories burnt, means weight gain. I'm just checking my notes to make sure I've not missed anything. And that affects our metabolism as well. And our metabolism does slow down, but we can kickstart that. There are things that we can do. It's not a given. It's not like, oh well, that's it, let's just accept it. Poor sleep, I've mentioned, for lots of reasons. And what happens when we sleep, when we don't sleep well, is that triggers some other hormones to be produced, such as insulin and cortisol. Cortisol is our stress hormone, and that also leads to us storing fat in our tummy. So there's lots of different things going on. It also, if we have poor sleep, I don't know about you, but if I have a bad night's sleep the next day, I just want food. I just want high fat, high calorie, high sugar food. We're tired, we can't be bothered to meal plan, so we grab whatever. We're up in the night, aren't we, going to the toilet more frequently, so that affects our sleep as well. Excuse me. And then an increase in anxiety and stress. A lot of women we support do experience this. It is, again, a common symptom of menopause. We've got additional responsibilities. We're worried about our body changing. We're worried about our purpose in life changing. And we know that when we're anxious and when we're stressed, again, that stress hormone cortisol affects the balance of all those other hormones in our body. So we're going to invite you on this next slide just to pop in the chat box and tell us, what are the common struggles that you're experiencing linked to menopause at the moment? What are the symptoms that you're really struggling with? Obviously, you're all here, so we're assuming that weight gain is one of those, but please tell us again if that's the case. As Lisa said, it depends what book you read as to how many menopause symptoms there are, but certainly well over 30, 40, 50, because there are some quite bizarre ones that you might not associate with menopause as well. But things like, I've mentioned, anxiety, stress, lack of motivation. Is it any wonder, if you think about all those things we're experiencing, is it any wonder we might be lacking motivation? Our confidence is obviously not obviously, but sometimes affected. That affects our self-esteem. The hot sweats, joint muscle aches, pains, fatigue, insomnia, low mood, depression. The last thing on our mind is eating healthily, exercising regularly, and looking after ourselves. So, and a lot of women don't realise these things are part of perimenopause. So they just think, it'll pass, it's okay, I don't need to worry about that. Or they worry about it more, and that adds to our anxiety as well. So I can't see the chat box at the moment, but thank you if you've shared your, your common. I don't want to go off the presentation and go into chat box, but I can see a couple of you have mentioned it there, so we'll have a look at those. But I'm sure there won't be any surprises as far as some of the things that you're struggling with. So I'm going to hand over to Lisa to introduce something that she mentioned right at the start and tell you a little bit more about this.
Yes, ladies, we like to smile, don't we? We've got to keep smiling. And Sue's just been through quite a few symptoms there, which you probably think, well, what have we got to smile about? I think we've got to look at things aren't going to change. This is how it is, unfortunately. So if we accept that, all we can do is move forward and make things better. And the first thing we can do is try and put that smile on our face. So I think the purpose of the webinar today, as we've both said, is how we can help you improve your menopause and your midlife journey. So keep asking the questions. We can't see the chat box, as Sue said, but we will answer any questions at the end. So keep asking away, and we will just run through acronym SMILE with you, and it'll all come apparent what we're on about. So this is our special formula, thanks to Sue. Sue actually came up with this. We have long chats. We go out walking and have business chats, which is a great idea, ladies. If you have business chats and you can actually get up from your desk and move, then go out and chat on the phone, put your earphones in. We do it numerous times, don't we, Sue? And we get so much done. Earphones on, dogs on the lead, and off we go. One lady in the States that I actually follow from a fitness point of view, she gets people to sit against a wall and squat while she's in meetings. So all her employees have to wall sit and squat, which I think is amazing. Yeah, I'd probably last about 3 minutes, but if that. Yeah, so I think just keep moving through midlife, which we are going to go through in more detail, and keep smiling. We haven't got a magic wand, again, as we've already mentioned. We've got to put some effort in. We've got to set some goals. We've got to get a routine and stay consistent with what we actually put down. On paper, I feel, is easier as well. Write things down that we're going to do daily, and we're going to stick to it. It's going to be a lot easier. And we've got to decide to make some changes, okay, whether these be big or small. Every single step counts, okay, and that should lead to a lifestyle rather than a fad. But yeah, before I pass you over to Sue, to explain what our SMILE formula actually means, I just wanted to share a couple of my very favourite quotes. As I said at the start, I'm a bit of a quote queen, and I'm sure some of these will resonate with you ladies online today. So number one is you'll never change your life until you change something that you do daily, right? And I really, really do mean that. We have to think about what we're going to change and keep it going on a daily basis. Number two, the secret to our success is found in that daily routine. And number three, my all-time favourite, we've got to be better than our excuses. And that's actually written on my gym wall. So when my ladies come into my gym, the first thing they're greeted with is be better than your excuses. Okay, we'll be stronger than your excuses. So on that note, I'll pass you over to Sue and she'll take you through exactly what our SMILE acronym means.
Okay, so I just want to let you know that we do smile often, me and Lisa, but we do have those days too where we don't feel like smiling. I don't want you to think that we're two crazy women that just go around with a permanent smile on our face. And we do. We also have those days where it's really hard to smile and it's really hard to exercise, particularly me, probably more so than Lisa. And we do lack motivation occasionally. So yeah, we are human and we do totally understand that. I don't want you thinking that, oh, it's all right for you because, you know, you've got it all sorted out. We haven't. We still have to work on it and we have to work harder. So smile. So yeah, this was one of those. I don't know if you ever have those moments, you know, probably at 2 o'clock in the morning when you can't sleep and things are going through in your mind. And we were trying to think of an acronym of something that kind of reflected the different pieces of the jigsaw that actually help with weight management. And yeah, this is what we came up with. So you can see what all those things stand for. We are going to go into more detail on these and what you can do to address all of these different aspects as well. And we like this because we said earlier, it's not just one thing that works. We have to do a few different things to help. And this is, excuse me, this is what we call a holistic approach to changing our health. And I think throughout this presentation today, remember that these aren't just for menopause, these are for life. You know, both of us have got a health fitness, health management background, nursing, whatever. And actually, these will help to prevent heart disease, that 3 of the biggest killers across the world are cancer, stroke, and heart disease, and these will help with that too. So you're not just getting benefits during menopause, you're getting benefits for the rest of your life and moving into that next stage, post-menopausal life, where hopefully you will be fitter, healthier, and enjoy life much more. So if you're willing to let us share with you a bit more information on all of these different aspects, and don't get overwhelmed with what we're going to share. We are going to share a lot of information. That's how these things work. We won't want you to come here and be sat twiddling your thumbs saying, come on, give us more, give us more. But don't get overwhelmed thinking, oh my God, I've got to change my sleep. I've got to change my mindset. I've got to do. If there's 1 or 2 things that resonate with you, if you watch it and think, oh God, yeah, I'm really struggling with that, then just try and implement. And this is where we can help you beyond today, because you're not going to suddenly put all these things into place. It can be difficult. So do bear with us, but do, as I say, if you see 1 or 2 things and think, yeah, that's something I could do actually, but do reach out to us afterwards as well for that additional support. I'm just making sure I've not missed anything because I do go off on a little bit of a tangent. So we do know that small changes made consistently will be more sustainable to managing our weight as well, and will get you the results that you want. And we're going to talk, you know, we keep mentioning weight. It's not just about the numbers on the scales. In fact, it's very often not about the numbers on the scales. It's about all those other benefits and those consequences of managing our weight better that makes us feel better. So just tell us again, we're not going to pick up the chat just now, but just tell us in the chat if you are confused about the amount of information we should be eating. You know, I see things like, you know, high fat, low fat, high sugar, low sugar, no sugar, high carb, low carb, more protein, less protein. So just let us know in the chat if you're confused, because we are confused and we've got lots of background information and we get daily confusion with, oh my God. You've got to do this, you've got to do that. So do let us know in the chat if you're equally confused about the conflicting messages out there. So we're going to look at these in more detail. So let's look at the first one. So sleep. So you might think, what on earth has sleep got to do with weight management? We've already mentioned it affects our hormones. let us know in the chat box. Is it something you struggle with? What are your difficulties relating to sleep? There are things we can do regarding our routine, regarding those good habits at bedtime, because, you know, we're all guilty, aren't we, of being on our phones, our laptops, being on, you know, screens, watching disturbing content on TV, which is not going to help us with sleep. So there is a lot we can do, again, with the right support as well. And we know that poor sleep can make our hot flushes worse. It can impact on weight gain, which we've talked about. It's going to make us tired, isn't it? It's going to make us tired and grumpy the next day, low mood. I was in an awful mood yesterday because I didn't sleep well the night before. I was just really grumpy with everybody that came in contact with me. So I apologise if you were one of those people. So yeah, there are things we can do. I've talked about the cortisol levels. So poor sleep equals increasing cortisol, which leads to disruption in our insulin levels, which insulin helps to keep everything well balanced, you know, throughout our lives. And I've already mentioned, if we have poor sleep, we're more likely to reach for the high sugar, high fat, high carb foods the next day. So we obviously, there's a lot to pack into this webinar. So it's not just, you know, we could do a separate webinar about sleep and we could really dig deep into kind of some of the things. But again, over in our membership that Lisa's mentioned, we've got lots of additional support about sleep and things like keeping a sleep diary and more about that routine that we can adopt at bed. And again, just small changes can make a massive difference. I know if I've eaten well, if I've had some exercise, if I've had a good routine going to bed, then my sleep is going to be better. But some days it just doesn't happen for whatever reason. So I'm going to hand over to Lisa. Lisa's going to talk to you about the M in SMILE.
Okay, was that one of those ones you came in contact with yesterday then, Sue? When you were
I think I might have been, so I apologise if I was a bit angry.
I think I was, yeah. Right, ladies, you're going to talk about mindset. Mindset is a massive area, and I know we hear over and over again, oh, if you haven't got the right mindset, you won't do anything. You've got to be positive, got to be positive. As Sue said, we're not all positive, us included. I had a day yesterday also where I wasn't positive one little bit, and I had to kick myself up the bum because it does make a massive difference, and it also affects everybody around us in our family. As my two lads told me, what's the matter with you today, Mom? My mindset was totally in the wrong place. So, yeah, we're not perfect, and we have to work on these individual areas lots. We've got to put a lot of effort in to actually get some results and to get some new results. So if our mindset isn't right from the start, then nothing else is going to fall into place. Everything went wrong for me yesterday, and I was really negative. And I really had to change the way I was thinking. So it all starts with getting ourselves in the right frame of mind to do anything. And even having been a PT over 22 years, many of you would expect me to be absolutely full of self-motivation, which I guess I am most of the times, and my clients do see that in me. But however, I do have days where I have to really dig deep to find that motivation myself, believe me, and to carry out my exercise and my planned routine. But I think what helps me is by having a personal goal, by what is your goal? And that will, again, affect your mindset massively. And my goal is to keep strong and healthy, to not only be around for my lads when I'm older, as I'm classed as an old mum, I was told the other day, which was great. But also with my aging parents, we've got all these things going on in our life. My parents have got to the age where they need help as well. So if my parents fall over, I've got the confidence to actually feel I can lift them back up and deal with them. And that's emotionally and physically. So it's really important to me to be strong. And that gives me a great excuse to throw those weights around in the gym every day. So again, if you have a positive mindset, you're more likely to feel more motivated. You're more likely to probably sleep better, feel more energized. And then you're also more likely to want to take some of those changes on. Okay, I'm positive about getting better. I'm positive about wanting to feel better. So therefore, you will be, and you'll make, they'll make those right choices. I think we've got to ask ourselves, how much do we want to take control back? How much do you want to meet that ideal weight, which isn't going to be the same as it was 20 years ago? I was going through some photographs with my lads yesterday, as it's getting nearer to them going back to school. I'm thinking I'm just going to grab a little bit of time with them. And we're looking at pictures of all of us of only 3 or 4 years ago, and we all looked so different. We've all aged, yeah, we all age, but we all look so different. You know, everything about us, our features, our bodies, and everything. And I think particularly during menopause, we are going to look back and say, I want to look like I did on my honeymoon in that beautiful bikini I was wearing. And it's not always going to happen that way, but we've got to embrace how we are now and not how we were then, and make the best of ourselves now. So what am I saying here? Yeah, new mindset, new results. Why wouldn't we? That's what we have to do. We haven't really got that choice. One thing that I think might help, I'll just look at this very briefly, is have we ever tried using positive affirmations to help change our mindset? So we get up in the morning and say, I am going to have a good day, regardless of what's ahead of me. I am feeling more confident than I did yesterday. I've got a body that I can actually move. I've had better sleep than I did the week before. And we're making those little tiny changes. We're not going to do it all in one go. Nothing's going to stand in my way. I've got my set routine and this is where I want to be. I'm eating healthier. All these things, if we try and introduce those things into our mindset, then that will make a massive difference. So try and visualize where you want to be mentally and physically. Keep a journal, perhaps. I think Sue's just mentioned a sleeping journal, an exercise journal, a how you're feeling journal, daily journal, and write down what activities you've done. Did they make you feel better? Did they make you feel worse? And then address those different activities daily. And a gratitude journal, everything, these sort of things will all help us think in put us in that right positive mindset. While we're on mindset, I'm just going to touch on nutrition. So our eye in the smile is about improving our nutrition. Little bit of a disclaimer just to start us off. We're not qualified nutritionists or dietitians. And as I put there on the slide, the information we share here is about healthy eating, making healthy choices, and that's based on the information that we've learned from our own research, our own fitness regimes, and our own qualifications experiences. So that's what we want to briefly touch on now. I absolutely love that picture. I tried to copy that picture the other night at my place, and it was nothing like that. I forgot to buy half.
What, for your lunch? For your lunch, you mean?
Oh, for my lunch, yeah. Yeah, I like it. Do you? Yeah.
I used to do. I'm going off a little bit of time. I used to make faces like this with when my boys were smaller, and if they weren't keen on tomatoes, then I'd make them tomato eyes, and we'd have ham hair and cheese mustaches and things. But yeah, but they weren't quite as creative as this one. They probably had three ingredients in them.
Yeah, so looking at that picture, ladies, you can see it's probably all the colours of the rainbow. So that's what we want to be looking at. Colourful rainbow foods is what we really want to look at. And some of us might think, oh my gosh, here we go again. We've got a fitness trainer talking about salad and fruit. It's not all about that, honestly. We'll run through very quickly. As I say, we're not qualified fully in the area of nutrition, but we will share our experiences in what we think works for us, what has worked for us. And yeah, and colourful, looking at colourful foods. That I think that is key. We want to avoid what we call the beige diet. It always reminds me of my old Auntie Eileen when I hear the word beige, because that's all she used to wear and that's all she used to eat. And she, God bless her, she was lovely. But yeah, I got that from her beige shirt and skirt she was wearing, become the beige diet, what she was eating. So food and nutrition, absolutely vital in the health and fitness mix. I hate to say, but we're probably looking about 80% of gaining our dream bodies, whatever dream body that might be to you, is coming from what we put in our mouth and what we're eating. And my exercise programs I give my ladies will actually complement their diet. Okay, so just by exercising, yes, you're going to feel better, you're going to sleep better, we're going to improve our strength, our fitness, our cardio, our muscle mass. But if we want to see that weight loss come into the mix as well, we've really got to look at what we're eating and what we're putting into our mouths daily. Sue's mentioned about all the fad diets. There are absolutely hundreds out there. And I've never been on a diet myself, but I've always been quite mindful of what I'm eating. And I think that's always helped me as I've gone through midlife. I kind of know what the kind of foods I like, and I've got to love them. you know, there are foods out there that I could eat in abundance, but I have to say to myself, I know what's going to happen if I do. People say to me, you know, how do you keep fit? Part of keeping fit is trying to choose a healthy diet. And it's not all bad news. There's some really lovely, lovely foods out there. And it's not even cutting out foods, it's getting the balance right of what we're eating. So we all need to improve our nutrition at some point, especially during midlife. Um, and I've always preached about the 80-20 approach. So, and that's not 80% of the time eating bad and 20 good, like some people might want to think. 80% of the time, look at eating really well. And then 20% of the time, give yourself that little treat. Don't cut it out totally, because you are at some point going to crave for that packet of chocolate hobnobs. Sorry, Sue, I had to get that in. I know they're
I'm trying my best.
Yeah.
That's my downfall.
What I'm going to touch on mainly is this latest fashion buzzword, is the P word, as I call it, is the protein. Not all of us realise how much protein we actually need. And we've got to up that during our midlife and menopausal years, because this will, our muscle mass, our bone density does decline massively, as Sue mentioned, with our decreasing and our loss of estrogen. We need to fuel our muscles. We need to make them strong if we're going to start an exercise regime, which hopefully after this webinar, I convince you that you will and you can, and you might want to. So diminishing bone density can lead, and muscle loss can lead to sarcopenia, which is the onset of osteoporosis, which we really, really don't want. And protein is essential for our muscles and bones. So we've got to make sure we're getting enough protein. I'm not going to quote how much on this webinar, because again, it's one of those things that Sue said, so much information out there. We've got some information in our membership about, we've got a great video from a nutritionist who talks about exactly how much protein we should be having, the type of protein we should be having. One thing I will throw in, you will see lots of protein products on the shelves now in the supermarket, because as I said, it's become quite fashionable to eat X amount of protein a day, and getting that right for our body size and our body mass. Some of the protein foods out there can be laden with sugar. So if you are looking for protein bars, protein granola, protein this, protein that, just take a look at the sugar content as well, because that's really important. So high protein, lower sugar. Avoid eating sugary snacks. And again, everyone's probably thinking, oh, what, you know, I like my hobnobs and I like my cereal. Yeah, just be mindful that if you're not burning off that sugar will lay in your body and eventually will support you with gaining weight, which we don't want. Okay. Complex carbohydrates, like your white carbs, as I call them, try and cut those down or get rid of them completely, and opt for your fruit carbs, your veg carbs. Don't cut carbs completely, because carbs are energy. Okay, so again, going back to if we're going to take on an exercise, or when we're going to take on an exercise routine, make sure you're getting enough energy to be able to exercise properly. Okay, your protein will then come in to then feed your muscles. Okay, so you're then going to be feeling stronger, feeling fitter. And water is a massive, massive thing as well. Stay hydrated. We don't want to be at that stage where we're going for our water because we feel dehydrated. You've probably seen out there on the internet, 2 litres a day is what we're looking at. And some of my ladies say, oh my gosh, I can't drink that much litre all day. We can. If we start in the morning, eight glasses of water, 8 small glasses of water is nothing if you spread that over the day. I'm guilty sometimes of thinking, oh, I need my last pint, and I'll down it in one. That's not the way to do it. Try and spread your water out over the day. That will also help with weight management massively, gets rid of toxins. Nice warm water with lemon in the morning is a great way to start the day off. Sue and I do that every day. And maybe keep a food diary if you're struggling at first as well. So just write down what you're eating, and you'd be absolutely surprised at how much you might be eating, how big your portions are. That's another area to look at. Cut down your portion size gradually. Have a glass of water before your meal, and eat protein foods that are going to make you feel a lot more full. So you're not going to be snacking all day. I'm a bit of a snacker. Some people like to snack. Some people like to have those set 3 meals. Again, there's lots of information out there on the internet, intermittent fasting, all this kind of stuff. not one size fits all. Okay, so you've got to do what your body responds to, and mine's always been to eating little and often. Where I think, if I'm right in right saying, Sue, you probably prefer to have the 3 meals with a couple of snacks. Where Sue often says to me, "You're always eating," but I've always followed that regime. My body responds to that quite well. I won't mention the scales at the moment about weighing ourselves, because I'll come on to that when we talk about exercise, because that's another big area. Do I weigh myself daily? Don't I weigh myself? So again, that kind of goes with what we're eating, how heavy we're going to be, how light we're going to be. I'll come on to that when we talk exercise. But yeah, I'll pass you back to Sue just to talk about stress levels and how we can manage that.
Thank you. I'm just going to mention as well that quite often we get a cue that we think is a hungry cue, and I'm very guilty of this. And the chocolate hobnobs that Lisa mentioned, I try not to keep them in the house because I can't just have 1 or 2 either. But sometimes just getting a glass of water, our bodies might be thirsty rather than hungry, and sometimes it's a similar kind of feeling that we get. And I have found, to be fair, if I get those little hunger pangs and I just have a glass of water and something healthier than half a packet of hobnobs, then that feeling of being hungry goes off. So actually, was it hunger or was it thirst that I was experiencing? So that's worth trying as well. And obviously that's going to help with your hydration as well. Right, so I'm going to move on to the L, which is lowering stress levels. So we've already talked about what happens to our bodies when we're feeling stressed, when we're feeling anxious. And for me, we need to be looking at what is, we need to look at that root cause. What is causing us to feel stressed? And I dare say, again, if you want to share in the chat box and we can have a look at the end, it's probably lots of things. It's probably not any one thing. So it might be work, it might be family, it might be menopause. I'm sure menopause has a big impact on how stressed we're feeling. It might, we're lacking sleep, so therefore we feel stressed and anxious. A lot of women start to experience anxiety during menopause that they've never struggled with before. That overthinking, that feeling overwhelmed with things. So, and where I work, the hospital that I work at, I used to work in occupational health, and the biggest reason for people coming through the door in occupational health is stress-related illness. So we call them, I can't go through a presentation, Lisa, without mentioning the sandwich years. And we call them the sandwich years because we're in the middle, aren't we? We're in the middle of our life, hopefully. We've gone through our younger days, we might have had family, we might not have had family. That's really irrelevant, really. But we've got to this point in life and we've still got quite a way ahead of us as well. So we're kind of sandwiched somewhere in the middle. And with that comes priority juggling. We're often trying to be everything to everybody, aren't we? We're trying to, as women as well, this is a general statement, but I found it to be true with a lot of women that we support. We are people pleasers. We like to look after everybody. We like to make sure everybody's okay. And if there's any time left, then we might look at our needs and we might, practice a bit of self-care. But I can't reiterate enough the need to put you first. Again, I'm going to use another one that I often use. You get on a plane to go on your holidays, they talk to you, they give you the safety brief, and they always tell you, if anything happens, put your oxygen mask on first. And that is exactly the same with managing your own stress levels. You can't provide for others and care for others if you're feeling stressed, you're feeling anxious, you're not sleeping, you're irritable, you're tearful. It's really hard to be there for other people. So make you a priority. And if you do nothing else following this webinar other than thinking, what is one thing I can do for me today? Whether that's taking 5 minutes and just having a cuppa and staring out the window, or going for a little walk, or playing a bit of music, just take 5 minutes for you. We've talked about the cortisol production, and what happens is, if we are under stress, historically our bodies go into stress mode for a reason. It's survival mode. And historically, many years ago, when we lived in caves and we were chased by things like saber-toothed tigers, we needed to react quickly. If somebody was chasing us, we needed to get out of there. So that puts our body in that stress response. Unfortunately, life today gives us different things that stress us out, different things. We haven't got the tiger chasing us down the street anymore, hopefully, but our bodies still go into stress mode. And if we're under stress for a short period of time, our bodies can cope with that. But if we're constantly under stress, under pressure, trying to meet deadlines, trying to be, do this, do that, juggle so many different things, then we will become ill. And our body prioritizes cortisol production over our sex hormones, estrogen, progesterone. So that can make our symptoms worse as well. And I find if I'm under stress, I don't sleep as well, I'm more tearful, etc., etc. So make yourself a priority. Think about how you can manage that stress. And again, some of the things Lisa's mentioned, even though they were related to nutrition, things like affirmations, journaling, gratitude, meditation, mindfulness can all help. And again, we do, after this webinar, we can give you loads of support. That's kind of a bit of a speciality of mine. I love the mindset. I do loads of it. I was on a great workshop last night, but, we support other people to do that as well. I'm going to hand over to Lisa. Lisa I can't think of anybody else. I'm just going to remind Lisa that we've got 10 minutes to do the rest. That's a subtle hint, because I know Lisa will talk all day about exercise because she's really passionate about it. She's got absolutely loads of knowledge about it, but we've got 10 minutes to fit everything else in as well.
Okay. All right.
So here we go. Here we go.
Right. You want to just list this one out and we'll do a separate webinar on this bit?
I can put my feet up though for a couple of moments, can't I?
Ladies, go and get yourself a coffee. Okay, here we go. That's one of my phrases. Exercise. Well, just going back to Sue's slide just on stress levels, believe it or not, exercise can really, really help lower stress. If I'm feeling anxious or stressed or irritable like I was yesterday, I'm in that gym and I feel so much better when I come out. Now, you're probably thinking, well, what are you on about, Lucy? I'm tired. I don't want to do it. I've got no motivation. I'm overweight. My joints hurt. I haven't had any sleep. I haven't had my breakfast. All this kind of stuff. How the hell am I going to exercise? Well, we're going to fit it in somewhere, because I won't let you not fit it in. That's really bad English. We will fit it in. It's really, really, really important. And I actually do smile when I hear the word, because my job is to help you fall in love with it. And hopefully my ladies that come to me, I get people turn up at my gym door with a face like a slapped whatever, but when they go, they're smiling, okay, because it's made them feel that much better. It's helped their hormones have changed, their endorphins have risen, if that's the right word. I'm not good with words at 7 a.m. And I think some of our VIP members have been doing some online videos of ours, and it's made them feel so much better. They've got up in the morning, they've done 5-minute movement. That's all. The 5-minute movement video, and they're energized as soon as they're up and out of bed. So it's obviously crucial at this stage of life. We need to evaluate and rethink a little bit around perimenopause and menopause, because our stress hormone, as Sue mentioned, cortisol, we don't want to bump that up anymore by doing exercise that isn't ideal for us at this time of life, which I will come on to. We can't, unfortunately, compare ourselves, as I said earlier, how we were in our 20s and 30s, if only we could. I've been exercising for absolutely years now, and it's only been the last few years where I've had to come to terms with what I can do now. Sue might disagree. When I told her what my exercise agenda was last night, and she said, how are you going to fit all that in? We have to come to terms with what we can do now. We've got the family around us, we've got our elderly parents, we've got less energy, we've got more weight on us, all these things come into it. But we have to look at what we can do now and not what we did then. And I've learned over the years to take that different approach, believe it or not, and now exercise with exercise that suits my body and my changing hormones, okay, because our hormones aren't as resilient as they used to be. So we've really got to bear that in mind. A lot of you might think, well, I'm 55, 56, 57, I'm even 60, 60 plus. I'm far too old to start now. Well, you're not too old to start. It's never, ever too late to start. But we are too old to keep on doing what isn't working. That makes sense. Okay. So the longer we put that one small change off, the harder it is to actually make yourself do it, make yourself exercise, and you'll feel that your age is working against you, which is what we don't want. So we can't change our age. We can't reverse the number. but we can change our lifestyle habits. And this is why we're here today, to help you try and make those small changes. From experience, I'm, as Sue said at the start, I'm very, very passionate about this area, and I could go on all day. And sometimes it's wrong of me to say this, but I'll give my ladies a list of things I want them to do. Sue's smiling and laughing, I know. And they'll go away, and I've probably overwhelmed them. You know, I want you to do 10 sit-ups a day. I want you to try and do a press up. Make sure you're drinking your water. Make sure you're eating your protein. And I've done this a couple of times with clients a few years ago, and I've actually realised that I'm giving them too much to think about in one go. So if you look at changing one simple thing, do 2 press ups against the wall one morning, the next day do 3, gradually increase what we're doing. Scales, okay, don't get me on this one. You can keep them or you can ditch them, okay. My view as a health and fitness trainer, as opposed to somebody who's running a slimming world or a bodybuilding company, is please concentrate on how you actually feel in your own body. How do your clothes fit? What's your skin and your hair looking like? What's your smile like when you've finished your exercise? And look at your body composition generally, rather than just getting on those scales and seeing literally a number. Now, I do start my ladies off by asking them to weigh themselves. So I'll probably think I just contradicted what I've just said, but it gives us a guide and it gives us a starting line. All right. So in a week's time, when they weigh themselves, if they're a stone heavier, then I know they're doing something massively wrong. They've eaten too many biscuits, all right, or too many Ks, not drinking enough water, that kind of stuff. If their weight has gone up slightly or gone down slightly, then we're fine, because our hormones will change daily and our weight will fluctuate every single day. Our weight will be different if we've eaten carbs the night before, because the carbs will hold on to the water retention. So we haven't got to be too hung up on what that scale says every single day. We're just using it as a guideline. I tend to use my last year's pair of shorts as whether whether I've put a bit around the middle or not. And I gauge on how I feel and how I feel I'm looking, okay, as opposed to just those scales. Exercise tips. Yeah, we need to go on to this, Sue. How long have I got left? We need to move every single day, and not excessively either. I think the tip here from me is, don't bang in that high intensity cardio stuff every single day. It's not doing us any good. As I said at the start of this, our hormones have changed. It's going to increase your cortisol level massively and cause additional stress in your body. The additional stress will then lead to your laying down of your body fat and so on. It's this declining, whatever we want to call it. What I would say is, don't cut out your cardio. Our heart and our lungs, our heart's a muscle, as we know. We've got to keep our heart and lungs fit by doing cardio. But again, I've changed my routine. I used to be an absolute cardio junkie because I used to think that it used to make me lose weight. I felt better for it. I might have felt better for it mentally, but it wasn't changing my body shape until I actually put myself 18 months ago through a regime of looking at weights and resistance training right over cardio, okay? And my body shape changed massively, putting the proteins in, drinking the water, all that kind of stuff. So in a nutshell, one of my famous sayings, we've got to look at resistance training as our #1 priority with exercise. We've got to be lifting, we've got to be doing body weight, we've got to be looking at reusing weights and resistance bands at least 3 times a week. Okay, working with all those kind of things will help increase our muscle mass, will help increase our bone density, which is what we really do definitely need to do at this time of life. I can't stress that enough. Your cardio work is fantastic. I would advise you to do a couple of HIIT training sessions a week for 20 minutes. So you've got your heart rate up, okay, and you're bringing it back down again rather than keeping it high, constantly high. That's not doing us any good. Swimming, cycling, walking, all that kind of stuff is great, okay? But really look at resistance training. If you haven't done any resistance training before, again, it's not too late, but try and introduce it as soon as we finish here today, all right? I'm giving you an hour to start. It's really, really important that we do. Sue and I work online doing weights once a week, and Sue also does weights outside of me as well. She does loads of walking, so she's getting that balance right. It's finding a whole mix of fitness. Yoga is really important, Pilates, flexibility, coordination, balance, all of these things will come into that fitness mix. I actually saw a really interesting quote the other day, or statistics, that 85 or 84% of us women during menopause really, really want to exercise, but what's stopping us is our confidence. All right, so that's a really, really interesting stat there. And by exercising and feeling better about yourself will actually increase your confidence. So, bit of a catch-22 there. Ladies ask me, how heavy do I have to lift? Again, this is a whole area I could talk about forever on. All I'd say here is make sure your form is correct. Lift light weights until you are comfortable with your form. You don't want to cause yourself any injury, and then gradually increase to the level that you feel is challenging enough for you. So you feel that your muscles are working. Have I missed anything? So I could keep going. In a nutshell, again, work out, eat well. Be patient.
No, you can't keep going.
Be patient with the process, all right? Okay, I'll get on the soap, so I'm going to pass back to you.
Sorry.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
I just know, no, that's really good, and I think there's some key points there. I'm just aware we've got 3 minutes left. That's all, and I'm going to suggest, Lisa, we don't share the little video clips actually, and we just skip past those because they're a couple of minutes.
Okay.
We're not going to. Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm just going to very briefly. I'm not going to go into great detail on this, but I mentioned earlier, you know, although this is a weight management webinar, quite often people want to look at their weight for other reasons. And previous weight challenges that we've done, we've asked people, what is it that's driving you to want to make some changes? And these are some of their responses. So it's not necessarily about losing weight, like Lisa said, looking like I did in my 20s, but it's actually being there for my family, being able to take part in family activities because I feel fit and well, rather than you know, I can't take part because I'm tired and my joints are aching and I can't go to the park with the kids because that's how I feel. So I'm not going to you can see these yourself, but these are lots of reasons why people want to make those changes. You know, belonging to a community of like-minded women that can support us as well, because it's hard to do this on your own. Actually, it's very hard and you can feel very isolated. I'm just aware of the time. I'm going to move on to, we mentioned right at the beginning about some of the support that we can give, because as I say, in an hour, we can't possibly each of those elements of the smile we could do a full hour on, really. But we do have a fantastic, talking about belonging to a group of like-minded women. Most of you on here are in our free menopause group, and that's how you've heard of this webinar. But we also have our VIP membership as well, where all of the things that we talk about and much more, we cover in much more detail. So you will have access to Lisa's exercise videos online. Let me just have a look. I think, yeah, let me flick on to the... and it's not just for menopause support, it's for midlife support in general. So, you know, managing that stress, managing that sleep, juggling everything. So this is a kind of a summary of what's included as part of that package of support. So you can see that all the things that we've mentioned as part of the Smile will be covered through guest speakers. We have an amazing, so if you joined our membership today, you would get like 2 years worth of guest speakers, because they would already be there. So we've had the nutritionist Lisa mentioned earlier, but we've got information on how to deal with the menopause symptoms, how to deal with those hot flushes, for instance. But I think above all, it's a friendly, safe community. It's a much smaller. We've got 7,500 women in the menopause group. We've got almost 50 in our VIP membership. So it's much smaller. People get to know each other. We're actually meeting up in September. A few of us, not all of us, because we're scattered over the country. But we are meeting for a face-to-face walk and catch up and things like that. So I'm going to hand over to Lisa just to share with you. She mentioned feedback earlier, and again, we're not going to go through all of these, but Lisa will just give you a little bit of an idea of the kind of things that people are saying about the support.
What's quite nice, we don't want to feel big-headed here, but this is just a few of some of the comments that we've got back from our ladies, and we can't possibly go through all of them, as Sue said, but it's really, really great that we get this kind of feedback, because we do feel that what we're providing, they're getting, you know, a lot out of. It's helped this lady here embrace where she's in life, which I think is lovely, and she feels happier. Peer support from other ladies who are feeling the same as them in the same position is absolutely incredible. That's a really lovely one. The one at the top there, she's fitter than she could ever imagined after joining the group. She lost 2 stone and dropped 3 dress sizes. I mean, amazing. That's over time as well. Obviously, that didn't happen overnight with a magic wand, but she's taken on board some of our comments and some of our advice and tips, and set herself a routine and followed it. Feel much better, feel much fitter. One lady here got quite a lot of pain. She thought there was something drastically wrong with her, but it was probably just that she needed to move more and change her diet. So again, just some general feedback from our ladies, which we do get lots of, and it makes every minute of the day that we spend working in this group so worthwhile, and we really enjoy what we do, helping our ladies.
So, what we're going to do is, and we do want to pop back into the chat box to make sure that we've picked if there have been any questions and things. So we just want to be able to tell you how do you get access to all of this? Because as we said at the beginning, there's a limit to what we can cover in an hour. And we've given you a very whistle-stop tour of kind of all the things that we need to look at when we're looking at managing our weight better, just feeling fitter and healthier generally, moving forward into our next stage of life and being the best version of ourselves that we can be. You will get access, because you'll get access to a recording of this. So please do go back. And these are just 2 very short videos, but I'm just aware of the time. 2 very short video interviews that we did with 2 of our VIP members. And they're talking about, you can see there in summary what Bessie said, that she felt part of a family and she feels 100% supported all of the time. And a lot of the women that joined us when we launched our membership back in 2022 are still with us, so that's but yeah, please do go back and have a listen to those. They're just a couple of minutes each. You can see what Helen likes about it. Helen loves to do the online exercises and things. So if you're interested in finding out more about our VIP membership, then please just comment in the chat of the Zoom now. Just comment VIP. Or you can just take a photo of our email address and pop us an email over. We do have a website. We've just been working on updating that. So we can, certainly if you're in our menopause group, we can share the website where you can find out even more about the additional support, you know, that you can get from being part of that. But yeah, if you just pop VIP in the chat in here, then we'll follow that up with anybody that's put that. We haven't mentioned what it costs as well, and I think we'd be very remiss, wouldn't we, if we didn't mention that. We think it's an absolute bargain. I mean, I don't know. I went for a cup of coffee recently at the hospital where I work, and I actually get that subsidised, and I still paid about £3.70. So the VIP membership costs less than £3 a week, so it's £12. I don't know. I know we've got some ladies in Australia. I'm not sure what that converts to in Australian dollars, but it costs £12 per month, and for that you get to be part of that community that we've talked about. You get access to, there are hundreds of videos that Lisa's put on there. So if you've heard her talk about squats and press ups and resistance training and resistance bands, it's all on there. And what we love about it is it's all in one place. So you don't have to go to the gym for your exercise and pay. I'm sure you pay more than £12 a month for a gym membership. You don't have to go somewhere else for your healthy eating advice. You don't have to go somewhere else for all that mindset support. You don't have to go somewhere else to listen to those guest speaker slots on a load of different topics with lots of tips and advice. It is all under one roof. It is all in one place. We call it our one-stop shop, don't we, Lisa?
We do.
And, you know, it's fair to say for a lot of the women that we've supported, it has been, this sounds a bit grand, but it has been life-changing, even just having access to that community of people that really get each other. We've got, I've seen some of our VIP members on here, and they are extremely engaged with that programme. And things happen in life, don't they? And we know that sometimes they're not maybe as active, but that's okay too. It's there when you need it. I'm just going to move on. Obviously, we want to thank you for joining us, for this morning. It's very early, and we appreciate, as I say, we did have 300 women signed up. We were getting a little bit nervous if they'd have all turned up this morning, but we knew they wouldn't. But do go back and watch this again if there are any bits that you think, oh, I'm not quite sure, I'll go and watch the videos again. But we really appreciate you taking the time, but make sure that you invest that time in you. As I say, we can help you, but you've got to want to take that first step as well. These are all our links. Again, we'll share these in our Facebook group as well. We'll share them after this webinar. You can follow. We'd love you to follow us on Instagram. We share lots of information on there. We've got our free menopause group. We've got the VIP Meno and Midlife group. We've got our website, which at the moment is linked to this webinar, but that will revert back to its normal. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to say, Lisa. Anything else?
I could talk about exercise again, but I daren't. No, just wanted to say thank you so much for joining us, ladies. And yeah, we would love to help you. We'd love to support you. And it's just literally 1 cup of coffee a week. Really.
I'm going to go into chat, actually, Lisa. I'm just going to pop into chat just to see if there's anything. Yeah, I'm just making sure that we've not missed any questions, that's all. Yeah, appreciate if people have got to go. Lisa saying she loves the membership. She's added in some dumbbell workouts, which she wasn't doing before. And it's not as scary. She's nodding there. She's our #1 fan, Lisa. She really embraces what's on there, which is fantastic. It's not scary. I've now got a set of dumbbells. I would never have thought at 61-year-old I'd have a box with dumbbells, in no way. But there they are on the kitchen floor. They do get used. Just making sure. I can see lots of comments on people sharing their experience, which is fantastic. Waking up with hot flushes and things like that. As I say, there are things you can do. Don't just accept that this is life now. There are lots of things that you can do. I can't see any questions, so hopefully we've not missed any questions. If you think afterwards and you just want to reach out to us, then send us a message if you want more information about the membership. I'm going to hand back to you, Martha, so I don't know if there's anything you need to just...
Yeah, that is good. If you wanted to check any thing, I don't see anyone asking anything yet, but they said that they love the membership. They will be in touch, friendly, informative as always. So there's some of the feedback there. So you guys have been doing a fantastic job. I hope that all our audience thinks the same as well. Thank you so much for your time into sharing that with us.
Enjoyed it. It's good. We love. You can tell we love talking about it too, don't we? We love helping other people.
That is amazing. So everyone else, feel free to actually contact them in the where you actually bring it from. All of this recording will be sent to you within the next 24 hours. You will be receiving an email with the link in it. So if you wanted to share with your friends and family, you're more than welcome to do that. So anything else, any last word that you'd like to share with everyone, Sue and Lisa?
No,
just keep smiling. Keep smiling. It is doable. Yeah, it is doable. And you will see the benefits if you just, key message again, even if you just incorporate one of the pieces of advice that we've shared today, that would be a great start. And today is as good a time as any to start making any changes.
That is amazing. All right, thank you once again for joining us today on this amazing webinar. And we look forward to seeing you again on our next episode of Knowledge is Power. Thank you once again.